right, everyone. Welcome back to the corner. We're talking about the championship rounds in the NFL. We went through the divisional. Now we're getting to the championship, and we got the Kansas City Chiefs, who I'm repping tonight, as well as the Buffalo Bills going in a good game. We've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. So let's get started with the first game, which was the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Cleveland Browns, which was a lot closer than most people thought. If you took the plus 10 like I told you to, you were very happy because they only lost by 5 points. So let's talk about Chad Henne and his Super Bowl run. Just kidding. He's not going to play this week. He was the hero of the game, I guess, because he ran for a first down, I suppose. So let's talk a little about that game, though. We saw Patrick Mahomes get concussed, even though he didn't really have a concussion. So what were your takeaways from that game, Jimmy?
We'd kind of talked about it before that 10 points for the Browns was just seemed like free money.
It
I mean,
was.
I didn't think the Browns were going to win, but like we said, I mean, they were not quite the team of destiny, but I mean, they had everything clicking and humming. I think, you know, Mahomes, like you said, with the air quotes, um, I mean, let's just be real. It's a concussion. They can lie and say it was, a pinched nerve in the neck, made his legs go weak. No, the guy was out on his feet. There's no way um, that I think he would have been able to pass all the protocol tests and everything like that. And he's the face of the franchise. So you can't tell me that there wasn't some, I don't know, Goodell calling and saying, hey, you pinch a nerve in your neck, your legs kind of act the same way, because nobody wanted to see Chad Henne start an AFC championship game.
Well, it wouldn't be a game. It'd be a slaughter because they wouldn't score any points. Um, he was 100% concussed. I've seen enough UFC fights, big one coming up this weekend, by the way, where a guy's been knocked out and they go completely rigid. If you watch him when he goes to the ground, his fist is clenched and he's like this. He's not changing his position in when he fell to the ground. And that's usually a telltale sign that a guy's been knocked out. And then to get up and stagger and almost fall into his teammates. So yeah, whatever BS they want to spin, pinch nerve in his neck, brain fart, whatever, he was concussed. So Chad Henne came in and just game managed. Essentially, he threw a nice interception that looked like a Mitch Trubisky interception. But Cleveland played a heck of a game. I got to hand it to them. They did their darndest to win, even with the stupid fumble through the end zone rule that everyone hates now, even though it's been a rule forever. But the Packers, let's talk about the Packers now. So they beat the Rams. I mean, no one thought they weren't going to beat the Rams. So there's really not a whole lot to talk about. Aaron Rodgers did what he normally does, just plays awesome. And the Rams, they played the early game, so it wasn't freezing cold outside, so they had a shot. But anytime you're putting it on Jared Goff with a broken thumb, you're not going to really win. The Bills beat the Ravens in the boring game, 17-3. I mean, that was just, there was no offense at all. Lamar Jackson, another NFL quarterback, getting concussed in the game, and seeing who was their back of that game, Jimmy. I don't even know.
Tyler Huntley.
Tyler Huntley. I'm sure he was a great quarterback in high school. So they lost to the Bills. So now we have the Bills and the Chiefs going this week, and the Packers and Tampa Bay. And let's talk about the Tampa Bay game real quick. Like I said last week, never bet against Brady. He always finds a way to win. Unfortunately, this was on the Drew Brees injury tour where he could barely throw the ball anymore, and it was just like watching a wobbly duck go up in the air and come down. Michael Thomas had no catches, none in a whole game, because Drew Brees can throw the ball more than 15 yards. So what are we thinking about? And I know you hate Tom Brady, but what are we thinking about Tom Brady and the Buccaneers' chance against the Packers this week?
Pregnant pause there. So I don't think I think that they completely stomped the Packers last time they played. I just think there's no way that's going to happen again. I think the Packers are going to win. I mean, that Tampa Bay did not look very good in that game, even with Drew Brees, like you said. They had to, when you got to bring in a backup quarterback to throw a deep pass on a trick play. I mean, I think if it wasn't his last game, they might have benched him. So I mean, I don't know what you do there, but yeah, I mean, that Tampa Bay offense is still something is still off with it to me. They're still running wrong routes. You're seeing receivers 2, 3 in the same area. So I mean, I think if they can get that cleaned up, they might have a shot. I think you can pretty much, not that anyone's doing fancy right now, but pretty much sit Aaron Jones. I don't think he's going to be a factor at all in the game. No matter what Tampa Bay does, they absolutely stop the run. So I can see Aaron Rodgers kind of tearing them up. I mean, the Packers defense is pretty good. So, I mean, I'm curious to see what that O line does against the Smith brothers. See if they can keep Tom Brady upright. If he starts getting hit, then it's game over.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that the last time these teams played, Aaron Rodgers threw 2 of his 5 interceptions in 1 year, 2 of them. So I think that defense is gonna really key in on him and kinda watch his tendencies to know what they did last time, and I don't know if they're gonna jump routes or what, but I know one of the things I was reading on, one of the sports pages was you gotta jam Devontae Adams at the line. You gotta get him off his route. He's one of the best route runners in the NFL. He's a clean, crisp runner. He knows exactly where he needs to be every time the ball's thrown. So the key for that is to check him on the line, make sure he can't get a good clean route, and then hope that maybe a safety over the top can keep him, honest. The problem is you can't throw too many guys in him because you still have Alan Lazard and Marquez Valdez Scantling on the outside that can really do some damage. And then you got the wonderful Robert Tunyon and Mercedes Lewis, the tight ends that never seem to go away no matter what you do. So Tom Brady's going to have a good game. I think he's going to have a good game, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa Bay does somehow pull this off. I know it's going to be cold, but Tom Brady doesn't care about the cold. He's played in it forever. I don't know how about those other guys. They haven't played in it that long. So I don't know if the cold's going to make a difference. It's supposed to be snowing sometime soon this week, and I don't know if it's going to be up there first before it hits us. So yeah, Drew Brees not so great. Tom Brady had a great game. Again, don't bet against Tom Brady. What do you have here, Jimmy? You're going to talk about here with some about Drew Brees and also about Tom Brady here.
I mean, just kind of what we kind of talked on, like, um, as good as Tom Brady has done. I mean, he's what, 43.
Yeah,
I mean, Father Time remains undefeated. I mean, you've seen Breeze. He's got the most passing yards of all time. That arm is just completely dead. And like I said previously, I think if I mean it's hard to say, hey, we don't want to bench this guy because he's the face of the franchise. But you had a chance to go to the NFC Championship game. Now, do I think Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston could have done more than Breeze? I mean, I think they have a more lively arm. They could have went with Taysom Hill and done, you know, that option kind of run game that they did when Breeze was out. Because I leaving Breeze out there and then him blowing kisses and stuff on the way out of the stadium. I mean, I think he should retire. I
yeah.
just don't know what they do going forward because I don't think Jameis or Taysom Hill is the option going forward.
Well, Taysom Hill was actually a scratch that game, so he wasn't even available. He was I don't know if he was a healthy scratch or if he had something else going on, but Taysom Hill wasn't available. So it was Tom Brady or not Tom Brady, it's Drew Brees and Jameis Winston. And I'm sorry, but I'd take my chances with Drew Brees and a bum arm versus Jameis Winston, who would just throw 7 interceptions in a game. So
He'll throw 8 touchdowns.
yeah, he'll throw 8
So
touchdowns.
it works out. It's
It
fine.
works out. I guess it all kind of evens out at the end. Um, we had some retirements or a retirement, at least one so far. We had Philip Rivers officially retire from the NFL. He finishes, I believe, he's in the top 10 in passing yards and touchdowns. Um, so it's bittersweet to see a guy like that never make it to the Super Bowl, who always had a good, always had a decent team around him. Had several years with the Chargers where they were either the AFC West champs or a wild card team because of their record. And it was just kind of a shame to see him kind of go right off in the sunset without a Super Bowl. You always want to see a good quarterback like that, especially the kind of person he is. He's a great leader on any team he's on. He's a devout Christian or Catholic or whatever religion he chooses. Um, Probably the only player in the whole league who has never said one swear word while on the field. So our hats are off to Philip Rivers for the 17-year career that he had. That leaves Ben Roethlisberger as the only quarterback from the 2004 draft left. Meanwhile, Tom Brady was drafted in '99. So some of the older guys are starting to weed out, and we're starting to see younger crop come in. Um, Dwayne Haskins was picked up by the Steelers on a futures contract. Do you know what a futures contract is, Jimmy? I don't even know what that is. To me, I thought that's like, is that like basically a pray to God you do good contract?
Yeah, I mean, anytime I've ever seen a futures contract is like guys that they don't even want to give a practice squad spot to yet. Like they're
So
like, hey, we'll kind of take a look, and if you do okay, we'll think about putting you on the practice squad. That's the only time I've ever really seen it.
so I wonder what that contract even looks like. I mean,
I don't know.
$550,000. I mean, he's not even playing football. He's
I
during
mean,
the
I
off
know,
season.
yeah, I know he's a former number one pick, but I mean, I think
He's a
they brought,
bum.
yeah, he's a bum, but they brought back. I thought they brought back Duck. They got Mason Rudolph, and they got Josh Dobbs.
Well, Dobbs is walking in free agency. They said
Oh,
Dobbs won't be there.
there's the Bears starter.
Oh
Let's
God,
go.
please not. I'd take Mason Rudolph over him any day. And Mason Rudolph is
I don't.
terrible.
We don't. Depends how many times we see Miles Garrett.
And you have something here about OBJ and Mark Ingram. So what do you got to talk about with that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, so we kind of talked about a little bit on the Browns. The AFC North is, I think, going forward is probably going to be the most interesting division. Um, Short of whatever Pittsburgh does with Big Ben, he's coming back, $41 million cap hit. Um, so I mean, they're going to have to figure out something. Maybe they draft a quarterback. I don't know what they look at there, but I mean, so you got the Ravens that are good. The Browns are surprisingly good. First time, maybe since Jim Brown was there. I don't know. Um, and then I mean, you still got Joey B and the Bengals who aren't that bad, a couple pieces away. So I mean that may be the toughest division going forward. Um, the thing with the Browns that I've talked about in a couple podcasts before, I don't know what they do with Beckham because I don't know if Baker was relying on him. Um, he's kind of force feeding him to keep him happy, get him his touches. But as soon as Beckham was gone, that team seemed to turn around, and Baker just flourished.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something where they try to move him in the offseason or if it's, hey, you're coming back, but if you try any of the diva kicking the kicking nets on the sideline, you're gone kind of thing because we did 12-4 without you. So I'm curious to see that. I don't really know what his contract is, but
Well, I know, and I said this before when there was talks of him getting traded from the Giants to possibly the Bears or anywhere. He's a cancer in the locker room. And I know everyone's going to say, well, he's such a great teammate. Yeah, everyone says that about him. No one ever says they're a bad teammate until they're not in the locker room anymore. So them saying he's a great teammate, yeah, they're blowing smoke because I have a feeling that even though he claims, oh, I don't care about how many times I touch the ball, I just want to win. No, you don't. That's not how you were with Eli Manning. When you were with Eli Manning, you wanted the ball every play. It was let it be OBJ or no one. So that doesn't change overnight. So he's gonna be interesting to see what happens with him because he's got the torn ACL he's coming back from, which is not an easy injury to come back from, especially as a wide receiver where you got to make cuts and run, keep your speed up. So we'll see what happens with him. You have something about here, Mark Ingram getting cut from the Ravens. You want to talk a little bit about that?
yeah, I mean, so I don't really. I mean, he was kind of took a backseat to Dobbins, which is basically why they drafted him. Our guy Gus Bus seemed to be taking cutting into his carries, so they cut Ingram, basically saved $5 million on the cap. Um, so I don't know what he does. I mean, I think obviously he's not gonna be an RB1 anywhere. He's gonna have to be some type of committee or something like that. I mean, I wouldn't even mind the Bears kind of kicking the tires on him, see what he has. But I mean, I don't know what Lamar Jackson needs to succeed. I mean, they put the pieces around him. I mean, I guess maybe more receivers. I just doesn't. I mean, they have Mark Andrews. They
Mm-hmm.
have once Ronnie Stanley comes back, they have a really good O line. The
Mm-hmm.
defense is pretty good,
Yep. They have
but your quarterback can't throw,
they have
which
Hollywood
is
Brown.
right, which seems to be a bit of an issue if your quarterback can't throw.
Well, he's gonna run himself to death, and that's what's gonna happen. He's gonna one
RG3 him.
game, one game, he's gonna which they just cut him by the way too. So he's
Oh
gonna
no,
yeah.
RIP.
RG3 is no longer a Raven. Come on to the Bears. That's probably what's gonna happen. Um, they're gonna run, Jackson to death. And unfortunately, what you're going to see is you're going to see him take a big hit at some point, and it's either going to be a nasty concussion, broken collarbone, or he's going to hit in the knees, and he's never going to be able to run like that again. Which means, what's his value anymore? If he can't use his legs, he can't use his arm. So, what good is he? So we'll see what happens with him. Mark Ingram, though, is an interesting free agent on the market. I would certainly hope the Bears would at least do their due diligence on him and kick the tires, but they're the Bears. So we got Monty. That's all we need. Tariq
We
Cohen's coming
need
back. That's all we need. So, yeah, George McCaskey needs to die. Well, Virginia first. Then
right, right, yeah,
all right, so let's talk about the Bears defensive coordinator they just hired today. I don't even know his name, so you're gonna have to really Sean Desai. So you're gonna have to
yeah.
really do some talking on this because I've never even heard of this guy.
So I mean, I'm a huge Sean Desai fan. I mean, everybody knows. No, I mean he's a safeties coach. He's kind of worked his way up. He's been with the Bears since John Fox. So I mean, that's usually maybe even Trestman. I think maybe just John Fox.
I heard on the radio it was 2013 with Trestman.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, which is pretty good that you get kept on multiple coaching staffs. So I mean, I'm curious to see what he can do. I mean, it was really, I don't think they were going to get anybody outside. I mean, basically, Pace and Nagy are going into a lame duck season. You're not going to get somebody um, to move their whole family to be DC for a year just to get fired.
Yeah.
So I think it was going to be somebody internal. The other candidate was Jay Rogers, and I don't know if they announced it or not, but he's going to be the DC for the Chargers. So I mean, pretty much that's the only guy they had left was Desai. So I mean, it's good, I guess, because he's in house. Um, a lot of the other guys that they were looking outside of for DC was kind of interesting because most of them all ran a 4-3. So there were talks of um, maybe realigning back to a 4-3, and then you kind of got to figure out what you're doing with your linebackers and things like that from a 3-4.
Yeah.
But I think if they keep the side, they'll probably run 3-4. I mean, 3-4 is just the base, and then they're in the their base defense 90% of the game anyway, nickel and stuff like that. So it's not a big deal like it was back in the 90s, where if you're 4-3 or 3-4 and that's it.
What I always found funny, you see the Bears, they run they were running a 4-3, so you've got 2 down linemen and 2 outside linebackers. But it's like, are they just defensive ends? I mean, isn't that
Right.
they call them outside linebackers? Like, I don't ever see him in drop. You hardly ever see Khalil Mack in drop coverage or Robert Quinn. I don't think Robert Quinn would know what to do in drop coverage. All he knows to do is run straight and hopefully get somewhere.
Well, I think when Mac was first drafted, that's what he played. They were in a 4-3, so he had his hand on the ground, which, like you said, he does now.
Right.
Basically, as long as you have some type of pass rush move, if you're 4-3, 3-4, well, you're standing up now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only difference when it comes to those guys.
Yeah, you're a defensive end. It's what you are. Just
Right.
call him a defensive end. Um, Now, and what's interesting, and we were joking around about this earlier, with them taking the safeties coach. I said, well, you better be ready for Eddie Jackson to blitz every other play because he's a safeties coach. He's going to want Eddie Jackson in there disrupting stuff. But
When you told me that, I got flashbacks of them sending DJ Moore on the corner blitzes every time.
oh
He
yeah,
never got there, but no
nope,
matter what, he'd always be doing it.
2 seconds too late and ball be out and it'd be a touchdown. Let's talk about the coaching carousel and the wildest press conference we've seen in a while had some cannibalistic tendencies to it from Dan Campbell. I'll probably put a little clip in here in a minute about what he said. So get ready. It's going to be pretty wild. What do you think, Jimmy?
I don't get it. Like I thought the hire was bad, and then you come out and you have all this crazy talk about biting people's kneecaps off and stuff
Twice.
like that. Like,
2 times.
yeah, you're gonna knock me down, and guess what? I'm biting the other one on the way back up. Like, what are you even talking about? Did nobody sit you down and give you a script or anything? Like, it's like he went off on a tangent and got lost and had no idea how to get back to his original point, and made no point at all. And people are like, "Oh, I'm ready to run through a wall for him." I'm not. It's as embarrassing as that Adam Gase when he's looking around video. It makes no sense at all.
Well, and the whole thing is he wants his team to play tough. These guys are in the NFL for a reason. They're tough. They don't need us to think they're not tough. If you show me one NFL player who isn't tough, he's not an NFL player anymore. So this whole tough guy mentality, I don't get it.
It's
And
college and high school, man.
and the whole
They would
thing of
love that.
you knock me down, I'm gonna get back up. You're gonna have to knock me down 2 more times. At that point, you've already lost the game. If they're knocking you down that much, you're done. The
They're in the
game's
end zone
over.
already.
They've already scored. The game's over. So the Texans are apparently interested in Josh McCown for head coach. The most undesirable or least desirable, I'm not sure how to exactly say it, head coaching job in the NFL right now. What do we think about Josh McCown going down there instead of Eric Bieniemy?
Yeah, I mean, it's the last one, and it's the last one for a reason. Because, like you said, it's a dumpster fire. Um, I mean, we talked about this last year when we did the coaching carousel. What does Eric? Why isn't Eric Bieniemy getting a job? Don't worry about it. He'll do his time. 2020 comes around, he'll get a job then. No, he's not getting a job again. The whole, and once again we discussed it last year. The same thing. The Rooney Rule is nothing but a sham. I mean, basically, they come in. You say, "Oh, how many people do I have to? How many minorities do I have to talk to so I don't get a fine or lose draft picks? Two? Okay, call me up, Marvin Lewis, and then some other guy that they have no intention of hiring whatsoever. It doesn't make any sense to me. And they say, well, Eric Bieniemy, he doesn't interview well. You trying to tell me Dan Campbell interviewed well with that speech he just gave? Adam Gase, like there's something else going on. I know he's had um, some issues in his past, um, a DUI or something like that back when he was in college or when he was coaching college. Buccaneers just signed Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
So I mean, don't try and pretend like we're only hiring Tebows here. I mean, there's a lot of bad dudes in the locker rooms. As long as you can perform your job, it's overlooked. And trying to tell me that there's no coaches, the GM in Indy when he was always drunk, the GM in Washington when he was always drunk. I mean, there's just no reason for it.
Well, and side note, Dan Campbell's interview consisted of him catching a live deer and eating it in front of the Lions head,
Motor City Madman.
staff. He did that. Full rack of ribs, just ate it all. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the Deshaun Watson potential trade that the Texans say isn't going to happen, but it's going to happen. What do you think it would take? These are just spitballing ideas here. These are by no means anywhere near touching reality, probably. But who knows? It's the Bears. I think if the Bears would really want to get him, you'd have to send the first round pick this year. So that's pick number 20, Khalil Mack, to a 2021 third round pick, the first round pick next year, and a fourth round pick next year. And in return, you'd get Watson in a 2022 third round pick. That's what I think it would take. I've heard the market for him is 4 number ones, which if you make that deal, you pretty much are two teams, the Jets or the Dolphins, because they have or the Jets or the Dolphins, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Dolphins. Teams that have 2 first round picks this year could afford to do that because they're only hamstringing themselves for possibly 2 or 3 years, not 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's like an astronomical trade package that they're talking about. That they take, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know I mean, I guess before I even say mine, where do you have Watson? See, top 5 QB, top 10. It depends on his weapons, depends where he goes. I mean, that's what you also got to look into. I mean, yeah, he's good. He hasn't had anybody. So if you put him somewhere with weapons, is it going to elevate him, or is he just going to stay the same guy, 9-7, 10-6, ho hum kind of guy? And like you said, now you don't have at least 4 first rounders, and they're asking for 2s and 3s. So then you have no draft at all. So unless you're, like you said, unless you're the Jets or Dolphins, you have multiple picks. You have a young team that you've had multiple picks on those as well. If you're a veteran team, there's no way you can do the deal.
No,
That
no.
being said, here's what I think. I mean, I think pretty similar to what you have for the picks. I think the first and third this year, which would be the 20th and 83rd, and then next year will probably be the first and third again. And then I think they throw in Kyle Fuller. And then
You think Kyle Fuller would be enough?
I think so.
I don't from a player side.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's easily a CB1, and would be the best cornerback they have.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, like I like the Khalil Mack, especially for the Bears, just to get out from under his salary. But I don't know. I think they will probably look at it like, this. Granted, he's 30, I think, turning 30.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
hate to say he's on the downturn of his career, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they would do. I don't think they're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna trade him at all anyway.
They may not. I mean, that's the thing. This may all be just because he's pissed off that they hired the wrong GM that he didn't want. Probably going to hire the wrong coach now.
Right.
So but who knows? He may walk into camp and say, "I'm not playing," and he's already made a ton of money, so it's not like he's hurting. So he could very well just say, "I'm not playing until you trade me, and I'm only going into this place. And if you don't trade me
Right.
there, I won't play.
Yeah,
I'll just hold out."
he's got the no trade clause, so
Yeah.
he basically has all the cards.
Yep, he does. All right, well, let's get ready to go to our championship round predictions here. We've got, oh God, you actually have Dan Campbell's speech on here. Holy cow. Um, we've got Tampa Bay versus Green Bay. Green Bay is a 3-point favorite right now. On FanDuel, a 3-point favorite. I know on, I think, DraftKings are a 3.5-point favorite. I am taking Tampa Bay plus the 3. That's my first pick. I think Tom Brady's going to, I think there's a strong chance that Tampa Bay wins this game outright. So plus 3 is a safe bet for Tom Brady.
Yeah, I'm going on the other side. I think Green Bay, I just don't see anybody stopping them um, until they get to the Super Bowl and lose, hopefully. So I'm going to take the Green Bay -3. Plus, Ted Thompson just died
Yeah.
yesterday, I think. And he was the one that drafted Aaron Rodgers. So I can see them maybe playing, I guess, I hate to say harder because I mean, it's an NFC championship game, but maybe a little fuel on the fire to beat Tampa Bay and go on to Super Bowl.
Okay. Buffalo versus Kansas City. Kansas City right now is a 3-point favorite. I was shocked that if Mahomes hadn't played, I really wanted to see where that line was going to go. I wish I could see like an alternate reality where Patrick Mahomes doesn't play and the line goes from -3 Kansas City to like -5.5 or -7 Buffalo without him there. Alas, it didn't happen. So I'm going to take Buffalo plus 3. I think Kansas City is probably going to win this game, but I think it's going to be close. And I think the Buffalo plus 3 it could be, like a 29-30 game or a 28-30 game or 28-31. So plus 3, it's a push. But I think it's going to be Kansas City winning it, but I'm taking Buffalo in the points.
Yeah, I'm also taking Buffalo in the points. I don't know if it's heart versus head on this pick. I think Buffalo actually matches up very well with them, and I think Buffalo can win outright.
Okay. And then our divisional sleeper, or I guess our conference championship sleeper, didn't change that on the sheet. Um, Aaron Rodgers will throw one interception. That's it. I'm not going to be like crazy like Jimmy and say Aaron Rodgers is going to throw an interception and they're going to lose because you lost both of those last week. So
Yeah,
it was a double whammy because every time, and I'm telling you, I wish you guys could have seen me watching the game because Tom Brady had at least 3 or 4 times where
yep,
that ball was like intercepted in their hands or just about to hit the ground or whatever. And I kept going, man, I hope I hope he doesn't throw that pick. And then they lose, but he didn't. He ended up not doing it. It was the other side. Drew Brees threw the 3 picks. So
yeah. I actually messaged you on one of them because I thought it was a good pick, and then they showed when the guy trapped it and they overturned it.
Yep, it was a trap.
But
Who's
whatever.
who's your sleeper?
So we're going to the Buffalo game. I'm going to go Stephon Diggs. That's going to have 100 yards and a touchdown.
Okay, and then we've got our spicy hot take of the week. Hopefully soon to be sponsored by Live Fire. Oh, already said it. So my spicy hot take of the week this week is going to be Eric Bieniemy is going to get the head coaching job in Houston. I know we've been talking about it's going to be Josh McCown's gig. I think this is all smoke and mirrors. I think they're going to hire Eric Bieniemy behind the scenes after the games, after he wins and goes to the Super Bowl again. How do you not hire a potential 2-time championship winning offensive coordinator as your head coach to turn around Deshaun Watson and turn around that team? So my spicy hot take is Eric Bieniemy will be the new head coach in the Houston Texans.
I like that because the first thing that comes on my mind is why the hell not? If that's the guy that Watson wants, and if that's going to keep him happy and keep him in Houston, even if you don't like the guy, that's who you get. I mean, Watson only has a 4-year contract anyway, so you say, hey, if anything, if he doesn't turn it around in 2 or 3 years, we'll fire him. Be like, hey, Deshaun, obviously you didn't know what you're talking about, and you go get your guy. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, that whole Josh McCown thing. And then they said, oh, well, as long as he has a former head coach on the staff, well, then don't hire him. If you have to have somebody to babysit him, then obviously
Yeah,
he's not ready for the job.
that doesn't make any sense.
So let's see. So, you know, I, why not? I just keep going back to the Bears and the quarterback thing. It's looking like my previous hot pick is not going to um, come to fruition. It looks like Sam Darnold possibly is staying in New York. We'll see what they really do. They might try and package him, maybe even get Watson for him. So my spicy hot take is that Dak Prescott is going to get tagged by the Cowboys. And
That's
then he's going to get traded to the Bears
oh
for the number 20 pick and a third
whoa
rounder.
whoa. Do you think that's it?
That's it, baby.
Wow. I tag and trade, huh?
Tag and trade. Let's go.
So then what are the Bears gonna do? They can't afford him.
Cut everybody. It don't matter.
Cut everybody. Cut the bum offensive line they already have. We don't need them. We got Dak now.
Exactly.
Busted ass foot.
You don't have to worry. You're not going to have money to pay Robinson anyway, so who cares?
No kidding. I wouldn't be shocked if they tag Robinson, even though I think it's a stupid move. I say you let them. They should have traded him. What they should have done this year, they should have traded him when they had the chance. Because now they're not going to be able to afford him, and the tag is going to be, I think we said 16 million or something like that, like 16.4.
Yeah.
So if you're going to pay him 16.4 million guaranteed money, why don't you sign him to a contract and pay him 18 or 19? I know he wants 20, but I don't think he's a $20 million player.
Well, I mean, he can still get. I mean, you can tag him and then sign him to a long-term deal still.
Right.
And then if you don't get to anything, then you say, hey, whatever. But I was also seeing people throwing him in for the Watson trade, do a sign and trade to Houston, and then you get Watson, and then obviously you're giving up picks, stuff like that. But I guess the question then becomes, who the hell's throwing the ball to who?
Yeah, because their backup is what, Tom Savage down there?
Oh, is it still Tom Savage?
I don't even know.
Savage Garden? I don't know.
I don't even know. So, all right,
Nick
well,
Foles, throwing Nick Foles too. Then
throw Nick Foles too. Why not? Right?
the band back together. Let's go.
Throw them all in there. And package Mitch Trubisky in there while you're at it. Even
There you
though
tight end.
tag, sign him to a 1-year deal, then trade him.
There you go.
All right.
Who's the guy? Who's our trade guy? Taylor Gabriel. Bring him back.
Oh, yeah.
And then trade him.
Yeah, we wanted to trade him every week. I think
Every week
it was, hey, package Taylor Gabriel. He had a pretty good game last week. You can probably package him up and send him away. All right. All kidding aside, everyone have a great week this week. Go whichever team you want. I got my Gronk jersey on because I don't have a Tampa Bay jersey, so I got Gronk on, Chiefs on. So I'm hoping for a Tampa Bay and Chiefs Super Bowl. But like us on Facebook, find us on YouTube, and then also on Twitter at BJ's Fantasy Corner. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. And everyone have a great week, and we'll see you next time on the corner.